Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to another Tuesday night with Kayak Bass Live. I apologize about the wait. For whatever reason, I forgot to make our frames and change the names from Kurt last week. So that's what took us so long. So I'm going to try to burn through as much as I can, as fast as I can. How you doing, David?
Hey, man, I'm hanging in there.
Yeah.
Don't ask how fishing's been, but I'm hanging in there.
Yeah. Well, at least you got to go, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we want to thank everybody for tuning in. We got a lot of viewers coming in from Texas to listen to Guillermo. So if you're watching right now, share, invite your friends to watch, and get them all coming in here. Looks like our numbers are starting to increase here. I see it. Come on, guys, share. Invite everybody.
Share, guys.
Share.
Trapper hooks. If you share it, you get entered into next week's drawing. So go ahead and share this post.
Share. Trapper hooks. Next week we'll do a drawing for the winner to win those Trapper hooks right there. Well, at least not those ones, but from Trapper. Trapper will actually send them out to you. But okay, so I want to tell everybody thank you. Those who have been following us and watching and liking us on Facebook. We are now over 500 likes. I think we're probably going to set a milestone for 1,000. When and if we hit 1,000, we'll do some sort of major giveaway. So share, spread the love, spread the word. Let everybody know Kayak Bass Live is here. And we're here to spread the love of kayak bass fishing and everything about it, all the different trails, all the different people fishing, all the different companies, and let's make it happen. So I want to thank you for that. We want to remind everybody that we do actually upload and archive the show on YouTube. So if you want to see who had last week or the week before or from the very beginning and look at the horrible horrible streams that we had from the get-go, go back to YouTube and check us out. Subscribe to us there if you would. Give us a like, hit thumbs up on all the videos if you would, and so help us out. That would be greatly appreciated. So they're all archived there. It does take me sometimes a little longer than others to get the video uploaded, so I apologize about that. But you can come on to Facebook, and they are there too. But YouTube is where we tend to send everybody because they're all there real fast, easy to find, rather than scroll through the feed. Yep. Okay, so with that, we will start utilizing Instagram's live feature here more and more. Did you actually get to use Instagram Live today, David?
No, I didn't go on there. It was raining on us a little bit and stuff. It was rough. It was windy out. It was horrible today.
Yeah, as we get, weather starts to stabilize, not so sunny, rainy, sunny, rainy, sunny, rainy, 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 sunny, sunny, rainy, sunny. When it stabilizes, I'll be able to get out there a little bit more and start using Instagram Live. And so go there, go to Kayak Bass Live on Instagram and give us a follow, and we will. I don't know. I really wanted to start follow everybody back, because we will do it as long as you're not some goofy little giveaway, something or other. We'll follow you back. We get a lot of those GoPro giveaway. That's their username. GoPro giveaway 753821179.
That was an 892.
Like, come on, guys. No, legitimate people follow us on Kayak Bass Live. We will follow you back. Like, why not, right?
And tag it. Hashtag.
Yeah, start using the Kayak Bass Live hashtag, and we're going to try to start utilizing, start showing people's catches on here. We haven't really had anybody do it. I'm not really, except for Justin. Thank you, Justin. And Blue Collar Anglers, our boy Adam. He's tagged us a couple times. So between the two of them,
check him out. I ordered my shirt.
Yeah, check out Blue Collar Anglers, man. He's got some cool ideas in mind, and he did his first run of shirts. Go over there and sell them out so we can get another run going, and then we can start getting creative with what he's doing. So shout out to Adam, man. Get it going. So tag us on Instagram. Reminder, get signed up for looks like I didn't edit the outline here. The Akabass online event, I believe the deadline is already passed. It started April 1st to the 30th. We had, I think, I didn't check the number of teams. I should have updated it. But 6 fish limit, 3 per angler. Current leaders, Team Donkey Slayers. Again, with Jason Cullen in that team. That guy is a kickboater kicking our kayak rears. So
they're slaying donkeys. This Donkey Slayers slaying donkeys.
Yeah,
man.
Jason fishes up at Clear Lake, and he's kicking our rear from a kickboat. We did open it up to kickboaters, so yeah, I'm pretty sure it's at Clear Lake. He might be fishing Sonoma, but I doubt it. He's probably fishing Clear Lake. Where else would you?
Sure, he has a few honey holes.
Yeah. So the team of Jason Cullen and Noah Stevens, they have 116 3/4 inches for the lead for 6 fish between the two of them right now. Current big fish still Lonnie Owen Jr. 24 1/4.
Big fish.
What a monster, dude! No, I don't think anybody's gonna beat that. I mean,
that should be according to the, the chart.
About a 9-pounder.
Just about.
All right.
Full.
And a reminder: Yakabas April tournament is full, but you can still sign up if somebody drops out. So we capped it at 50 anglers. So get over there, keep an eye out. It is full. April 22nd at Lake Comanche with 50 anglers registered. It was $42 enter. It's an open launch. 3 p.m. check-in on the South Shore ramp. I believe we will have a check-in first thing in the morning, and then after the check-in, everybody can disperse and go to their launch site. But there will be, I'm pretty sure there will be a meetup spot first thing in the morning at South Shore. And another reminder, Headwaters Kayak Custom Paddle Fest, Lodi Lake, April 22nd. Demos, clinics, food, and music will be on the 22nd, the same day as...
It's like $10?
Yeah, only $10. $10 to
go paddle all day and try out all the kayaks,
Granted, 50 of us will not be there because of the Yakabas tournament, but they give you the opportunity to go out there and get your...
Be less crowded for you.
Get out there and paddle. I believe you'll have the Titan out there, too. So those of you who aren't fishing the tournament want to paddle the Titan, give it a try. He should have it. I believe he told me he was going to get like the 10th. His delivery was expected the 10th. So hopefully he may already have it. So if you want to demo that bad boy...
The rest are going to be out there with new canoes, so go check out their kayaks. They both have some decked out kayaks out there, so go check out what you can do, Check out the possibilities.
Yeah, get out there, check out all the different rides, demo them for $10 for the entire day, 10-minute demos out of Lodi Lake. I was talking to Dan. He said the flow at the McCombie's too strong, so nobody's going to be allowed to go out past.
Yeah.
Like, it just isn't doable. Like, he said, like, there's like a break. He said it was like you paddle the break, and then, like, you literally, you cross that one little spot, and you're zooming. Like, it just doesn't happen. So, yeah. Dan said that Sunday, the original plan was to do Paddle Fest on Sunday and a Big Fish, but he's going to cancel it. And what he's going to do is actually I think he said he's going to plan on doing a parking lot sale on Sunday. So everybody goes out and demos on Saturday, sees what they like, and then they'll do a parking lot sale with some pretty cool discounts on the kayaks on Sunday for those who are interested. So demo Saturday, buy Sunday. That's how it works. What else we got here? Reminder, KBF Trail Event, California Trail Event on the California Delta. It is May 13th. Yeah. It is live on Tourney X, so you can go ahead and sign up there. There is no angler cap. It is a $50 entry for KBF members. If you are not a KBF member, there is a non-member admin surcharge of $25. Granted, there will also be another tournament in the fall at Clear Lake, so just get your KBF membership. Pay it. If you're going to fish Clear Lake 2, pay it. And then you get discounts on the gear and access to a lot of cool stuff. So sign up, become a member. $50.
Yeah,
it's worth it.
Online tournaments too.
Yeah. There's also a KBF Heroes on the Water Big Bass Brawl. They'll be going simultaneously for $20. So I'm not exactly sure what the prize was. I believe Richard told me, but we will have Richard on next week, and we'll talk about that and. I already know the kind of details of when that's going on. There will be captain's meeting at Headwaters Kayak Shop in Lodi on Friday. So be prepared, man. It's going to be an awesome event. We're hoping we can bust 50 anglers. I think we can do it. Why not, right?
Open launch,
Open launch.
Go to your spot.
You pick out where you want to go. The guy who does the most research.
It's a certain radius, but, you can go to your spot. That's awesome.
Yep.
So
the guy who does his research is going to win that one because the way the weather has been. Granted, we still have a month left. So, a month and a day.
Yeah.
So I want to give a shout out to the upcoming events across the nation. 1 week out, 1 week from this. Well, this pretty much this weekend. April 15th, KBF Trail event on Beaver Lake, Rogers, Arkansas, April 15th. And then the KBF Trail 3 River Throwdown, Thomaston, Georgia. I hope I said that right. I apologize if I didn't. Also April 15th. That's going to be a really big one. I believe Chad and Christy and also Gene Jensen may be going out to that one too. Yeah. So it's going to be.
They're also show up. There's a lot of water. I was watching on the videos on that. That seems like a pretty cool tournament.
Yeah, that's going to be one to watch. Hopefully, try to get the winner of that one on the following week. Because next week's going to be we got too much going on for the next show. Next show we actually have Greg Blanchard on the book, and he will be on the show next week. So, yeah, as long as all goes well, he should be already in California. We could have tried to have him on today, but it would have been too much work. He's probably settling in. So with that, also, there are 2 river bassing qualifiers this weekend. One in Lake Wiley, South Carolina, Queen City Kayak Anglers. And then another one, the Mid-Atlantic Kayak Bass Fishing Series in Stafford, Virginia. So those are some upcoming events. And then 2 weeks out, 2 weeks from this week, or 1 week from Saturday, KBF Trail and La Cassine National Wildlife Refuge. Man, I'm so sorry. I hope I said that right, or even come close. April 22nd, and then the KBF Trail Mud Creek, April 22nd as well. So there's that. And then I want to give some results for some of the big events this happened this past weekend. CKA, Carolina Kayak Anglers. Event number 3 on Jordan Lake in North Carolina on April 3rd. Third place went to Danny Whitaker, 58 1/4 inches. Second went to James Sarton at 61 1/4. And Mitchell Rhodes took first for 62 1/2 inches. So congrats to you guys. There was also a KBF Trail event, New River Spring Shootout on April 8th. Third place went to Matthew Randolph, 66 3/4 inches. Second went to Eric Hawks, 83 1/4, and Russell Johnson took the W for 87 1/2. So congrats to you boys. Want to plug our giveaway this week. Every week we do a giveaway. This week it's going to be Trapper Tackle again. Trapper Tackle has stepped up majorly for the stream, and it's not coming out of my pocket, it's coming out of theirs. They will actually send them to you. So we do the drawing next week for a couple packs of Trapper hooks, and that's how that's going to work. What you do is you just.
One more thing is we're going to be out at the Informative Fisherman Expo in Modesto, California, on the 29th. So come out and say hi, check it out. There's going to be a bunch of vendors out there.
Modesto Toyota.
What's up? It's going to be fun.
Modesto Toyota, the Informative Fisherman Expo, the first annual, we put on both by Nick and Matt Frazier. So April 29th from noon to 6, I believe this time. Come out and say hi. We're going to have a booth set up.
Fun.
Still trying to figure out the logistics of making that work, but we will make it happen. So that's our plans. Am I forgetting anything? Oh, yeah. So the giveaway. Share the stream. That's how you enter to win. Those who share, and then we also usually do an additional entry if you use the hashtag #RigItLockItLandIt, which is Trapper's hashtag we like to use. So #RigItLockItLandIt as a hashtag, and share the stream. Those are the ways to enter to be qualified to win. I believe last week we had like 50 something shares. You have to share it publicly. If you don't share it publicly, David and I cannot see that you shared it, and it doesn't enter you because we can't see it. Because what happens is when we check to see who shared it, it says some of these may not be viewed due to privacy settings. So if you change it to public, then we can actually see that you shared it, and that's how you get entered. If you don't share it publicly, tough. I'm sorry, man. You didn't do it. We can't. I can't see what I can't see. So share it publicly, please. All right. And then we'll do the deal of the week after we get back. What we're going to do is a little interlude, and we will bring on Guillermo, and we'll go from there. Man, I feel like we ran through that real fast. All right. So with that, enjoy the interlude.
Live to fight another day. nice fish right here. Later, dude.
Welcome back. Apologize about the delay. Looks like I figured out a way to circumvent Skype's little doohickey they did to me last time. But we got it going a lot quicker this time than last time. All right, so I apologize about the wait. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Remember to share for a chance to win a Trapper Tackle, some hooks. Rig it, lock it, land it. Use the hashtag, and we shall move on. So what I want to do is I want to talk about. I want to go down from 5th all the way up to. Let's start from the social division. From the Kayak Angler Tournament Series tournament at Toledo Creek Reservoir, correct? Right? Yeah. Anyways, so. In 3rd place, Andrew Phillips had 72 inches in the social division. If you're not aware, the social division is basically a way for guys who just want to be out there and participate. They pay $20, they come out and fish, and they're participating for gift cards, correct?
Yeah, I believe they're participating for ACK bucks that you can redeem at the ACK store and down. We have several here in Texas, and mainly in the Central Texas area.
Right on. So 3rd place in the social division went to Andrew Phillips for 72 inches. 2nd place went to Mark Clay for 72.5. And then 1st went to Brandon Burskins. I apologize, bro, if I butcher your last name. 83 inches, which is nothing to shake a stick at. He did solid. He looks like he probably could have possibly placed in the competitive or the pro division if he wanted to. 5th went to Tony Sebrin for 89.75. Chris Siebenthaler? Huh? Siebenthaler. There we go. Thanks for the correction. 90.5 inches. Cody Prather. Prather. There we go. I just listened to a stream the other day. This is actually on my way home from work. It's Outdoor Scoreboard and Chris Payne and not Chris Payne. Wow. Chad Hoover and the host of the show would mention Cody Prather, I believe, if I remember correctly. And then Kenneth Davis, Cody Prather, 92 inches, Kenneth Davis, 93.75 inches, and Guillermo Gonzalez with 98 inches total. Congratulations, man.
Man, congrats, man. You won by a lot, too.
Yeah,
really appreciate you guys.
Quite the margin, bro. 4.25 inches?
It was a good margin, no doubt. Honestly, I didn't expect it to be that big of a margin. I figured that a lot of people had ran into the same kind of bite I had somewhere else in the lake. While some other people got on some pretty good bites, man, I guess I lucked out and found the best bite.
Yeah, you did, and then some. That's awesome, man, and no pre-fish, which we'll talk about later. We do want to give a shout out to Ken Drake, who had a 22.75 inch big fish. And the cool thing is he actually fished in the social division and took the big fish honors, which is pretty badass. Congrats, man. So we'll go ahead and you're on the show, so let's talk about Guillermo and how he did it. So first question, man. Oh, I forgot. I got to do the deal of the week. Headwaters Kayak Shop deal of the week this week. From Dan, he says I believe he said it was. I'll just read it from him. $50 off any Vibe Sea Ghost, which is pretty cool. So get down there, take advantage of that, get $50 off, and use it to buy a hog trough or a life jacket or life jacket PFD. We're kayakers PFD. That's what I would do. So go down there. Go down there, tell them Kayak Bass Live sent you, and take advantage of the deal of the week. So, Guillermo, what do you do for a living? What is your day-to-day 9 to 5 job?
Well, it's kind of complicated. When I go to work, I'm going to work at a place called Backwoods here in Fort Worth. It's a local gear shop. We sell a lot of things related to backpacking, hiking. We sell some lifestyle apparel, and within all of that, we also sell paddle sports gear and fly fishing gear. And I'm one of the paddle sports and fly fishing guys. Aside from that, man, I'm just a tournament fishing bum, basically. I go around and I just try to chase as many kayak tournaments as I can every year. Last year, I fished about 26 tournaments, and I'm hoping to fish that or more this year.
Awesome, dude.
That's pretty cool goal to have. Get out there and make that your job.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
More or less, yeah. Aside from other things, but sometimes I do some rod building on the side. But apart from that, that's what I do.
Right. Nick Smith just joined. What's up, Nick?
Mr. Informative Fisherman. We told him we will be there. We will be there next week or the 29th, man. We'll be there. Huh?
Yeah. So, anyways.
So
back to you just. What states did you do your tournaments in? It was all over the country, pretty close to home, or what?
It really just depends on the tournament. We're lucky here in the state of Texas. Texas has so much going on in the kayak fishing realm. Here in Texas alone, I got to fish in 3 different series last year. I fished in the KATS series out of Central Texas. I fished the KFL series, which was run by Cody Prather, the same guy who runs the Yak 4 Tournament of Champions. And I also fished the North Texas Kayak Championships, which is a newer series that we're just getting started up here. And I'm really excited to see grow because there's so much potential up here in the North Texas area. And the truth is, we have some awesome anglers, and it's become really competitive, and I'm really excited to fish it moving forward.
That's awesome, dude. I had no idea that's 26 tournaments. That's a lot of kayak tournaments. That's nuts.
Yeah,
what's the first?
I'm pretty busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just was listening to that podcast earlier today on my way home, and Chad had mentioned that the national championship had like 526 unique anglers fishing there between the open and everything. That's freaking crazy. And the KATS event, you guys had like just over 100. You said between the somewhere around 100 between the social and everything.
And this particular tournament wasn't as local as the other ones. It did require a little driving from basically anywhere in the state. But even with that, we brought, I believe it was 107 anglers. So that's not too bad. The KATS series typically brings anywhere between 100 and 167, I believe, is our record. But the first 2 tournaments, we had over 150 in both.
Yeah, that makes our little 50 angler tournaments feel like nothing right now. We'll get there, though. Hopefully we can get quite the, we're growing.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's a lot of kayak anglers.
Yeah, it's really a bunch. I actually just got corrected by one of my buddies, Big Worm. Our biggest tournament had 168, not 167. I'm sorry, Mark.
Hey, man, that extra one,
That's a lot.
Just to take the time real quick and then thank all the guys that are on here watching. It means a lot to me, and since y'all are watching, I'm hoping I can really give away a few little secrets.
There you go. We'll get to that. So how'd you start fishing, man? When did you just start fishing? Not just kayak fishing, just regular, overall.
Well, it's a pretty funny story. When I was about 8 years old, I got invited to go to a birthday party in Isla Mirada, which is in the Keys, in the Florida Keys, back when I grew up in South Florida. And we were at this party, and the theme for this party was fishing. We were going to go, and they had a little dock there, and we were all going to, wet lines and try to catch whatever we could. Well, what wound up happening was the kids got bored. But not me. I didn't get bored. I hadn't caught a thing. Nobody had caught a thing the first entire day of fishing. So all the kids are headed over to the pool, but I'm the one that's still over there at the dock, and I ended up catching this this little itty bitty snapper. I mean, it was tiny, but it sparked the biggest fire you've ever seen in your life for fishing that you can imagine. I was so determined, and ever since then, I mean, I haven't looked back.
That's awesome.
Huh?
Start birthday party, huh?
I wish
that's how it started.
I wish my parents were cool enough to let me throw a fishing birthday party. I don't think it came though. I'm in California, and all of our kids wanted to play video games.
Yeah,
nerds.
Fishing is a big part of Florida culture, so I guess I was lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody fishes out there.
No joke. It's there's very few places where in high school fishing is like the cool thing to do, but in South Florida, fishing is 100% the cool thing to do.
That's funny.
So you got into fishing by going to a birthday party. How did you get into kayak fishing? Was it a birthday party too, or was it a bachelor?
No.
It was a bachelor party.
That would have been pretty cool, but no. I got in the first kayak I ever fished out of was a tandem ocean kayak that didn't even belong to me. I had some friends that lived out in a little bay out in Biscayne Bay in South Florida, and people had always told me that this bay was full of snook, and I knew these people that had this kayak out there, and this was back when I was in middle school, and I used to always beg them, "Hey, can I take your kayak out? Can I take your kayak out?" And you know, every once in a while they would let me take it out, and man, those had to have been the best days of my life out there, getting towed around by big snook in the bay. Those are days that I'll definitely never forget. I didn't actually get the first kayak of my own until I was in college. I bought a Diablo Adios when I was a junior in college, and from then on I haven't really looked back. I got signed up in tournaments right away. I had already been fishing out of boats. I was doing the college series, the FLW college series with some of my teammates, Joseph Sanderson, who's another really, really great fisherman, who I'm sure at one point or another y'all will be talking to as well.
Yeah,
that's cool.
The way things are going, man, it's definitely possible. The cream rises to the top, man. Definitely. So with that, what kayak are you fishing out of currently, man?
Right now, I fish out of a Diablo Amigo. It's a 12-foot, 8-inch kayak that might as well be a paddleboard. The stability on it is totally unmatched from anything you've ever stood on. And I've gotten on natives, I've gotten on pro anglers, and I can tell you right now that I literally do not believe that there is a more stable boat on the planet than the Diablo Amigo. And I've got one right now that, I mean, I beat it up so bad, and I just can't get rid of it because I love it way too much.
It's crazy.
It's got all the good fish juju on it too, though. I bet.
Right.
Oh, it's got all the good fish juju. That's why I can't get rid of it.
Can't do that, man.
Oh yeah, it's been slimed way too many times. My understanding is Diablo is originally most known as being a fly fishing platform, correct?
Well, the guy that actually started Diablo is a big fly fishing nut. A really great guy. His name's Thomas. They're out of San Marcos, Texas. And his number one passion in life is fly fishing. And I think as a result, the design of the Amigo is very centered around fly fishing. But it's guys like me and a bunch of guys in Austin, Joseph, that have been able to apply it and use it as a tournament fishing platform. The cool thing about the Amigo is it's basically a build-a-boat. When you first get it, it's very plain, but because it comes like that, it gives you so many opportunities to rig it just the way you want it, which for a tournament angler is a dream. in my opinion.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's what separates the good boats from the not so good boats. You know, like you go down to Dick's Sporting Goods and you buy one of their Pelican $200 kayaks. Good luck outfitting that boy. Like you're going to be drilling holes and adding things. You know, the ease of customization is, I think, what differentiates a entry level to a top end kind of kayak. Personally,
you gotta have something that works for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't want anyone to get too discouraged. I have a good friend of mine who one time borrowed an 8-foot Pelican and won one of the biggest tournaments that had ever gone on in Central Texas at the time. So, I mean, you just never know what's going to happen. You can go out there and anything. If you know how to catch them, you'll get on them, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I'll never forget last year in their first tournament, big fish was caught out of a 10-foot pink kayak.
So you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
exactly.
They just get you out there. You got to do the fishing.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
The fish don't know. The fish don't know whether you're a man, woman, black, green, purple, yellow, green, or what you're fishing out of. They just eat. They're just doing their job. It's your job to do yours.
Exactly. Because I have a choice. I fish out of an amigo.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
So
let's talk about the tournament.
Well, you skipped the question, man. What clubs and circuits are you fishing out there in Texas?
Right now, I'm fishing the North Texas Kayak Championships and the KATS series. Those are the two main series I'm fishing. I know the KBF is going to have a few trail events here this year, and I'm going to try to make as many of them as I can. I'm also going to try, if possible, to make the Hobie Open on Kentucky Lake. I've really kind of grown to love Kentucky Lake, and the only time I haven't been there is when they're out on ledges. And to me, that seems really exciting.
Yeah. Oh, I want to learn to ledge fish myself. I think we all do. It's just something. There's something about it that is intriguing. My question to you: what would you consider? Well, because we have a lot of guys out here that have a difficult time going outside of their zone, so to speak. What is your zone for tournament travel? If you're to leave up on like today's Friday and you're gonna go fish tomorrow Saturday at a tournament, what is your drive time?
My drive time, like ideal drive time, or because it just really depends on the tournament. For the KATS series, I drive an average 3 to 6 hours. The last tournament on Coleto was 5.5 hours. But it just really depends, if I'm fishing for a lot of money, like the national championship, I'll drive as long as it takes. I'll drive to Alaska, but for a lot of these trail tournaments, I typically try to stay within the state of Texas. I do want to drive up. I know next week there's a big tournament in Oklahoma called the Beavers Bend Classic. It supports a really good cause, and they've got a purse of about $5,000 to first place. So I'm hoping that I can make that one. So I will go outside of the state. Another thing that would make me go outside of the state is if you told me that we were going to do it on a crazy fishery. If you told me we were going to go fish Gunnersville for $5,000, I'd have a hard time declining that.
Well, we're having a tournament at Clear Lake, KBF Trail Event at Clear Lake. We have a KBF Trail Event on the Delta. Granted, it's what.
You know what? The Clear Lake and the Delta are pretty awesome, and I've always dreamed of fishing, especially the Delta. But I don't know if the 28 to 30 hour drive is exactly what I'm wanting to sign up for at the moment.
Yeah, maybe next year.
Yeah,
maybe next year. Today, man, you gotta come out even just for fun sometime, man.
Oh, I would love to. I have a couple good buddies that are from that area, and they always tell me that I need to get out there and do some fishing because it's really out of this world.
Yeah, we've got Greg Blanchard. He just moved back out here. He should have arrived yesterday or sometime this morning. but he'll be fishing out here.
I know Greg real well.
Yeah, he'll be whooping our rears out here. I know he loved the Delta when he was out here last time. That's why he came back. So that says something. I'm really hoping we can encourage him to make his 3-month stay into a 6-month stay, so that way he gets to fish a little bit in the fall as well when it's still on fire. Because the Delta, man, it'll run it'll be hot all the way through November, like.
Yep.
And Clear Lake too.
Well, let me tell you, man, that guy's definitely going to kick some butt up there. Him and I had a pretty good battle a couple of years ago in the KATS series, and he ended up edging me out by just a couple points. But I'll get him. I'll get him next time.
Yeah, we've got him coming on next week. So
great guy.
Yeah,
always willing to share all kinds of information. He's a guy I really admire. I know for a living, what he does basically is he helps people, and it really reflects on his personality. And I think we're all lucky to have a guy like him in this kayak fishing scene.
Yeah, absolutely, man. He's super easy to talk to, easy to get a hold of. I've chatted quite a few chats with him, and he's a cool dude. I look forward to next week when he comes on. So with that, let's go ahead and move on and talk about your win, man. Where exactly is Colito Creek Reservoir in Texas?
All right, go nowhere, make a left. That's where it is. It's down by the coast. You can kind of smell the salty air when you get there. But it's in an area that I would consider more to be South Texas, Southeast Texas.
All right.
What kind of tree is it? Is it like a shallow, deep reservoir? Or is it a shallow, deep reservoir? Is it a shallow reservoir, deep reservoir? What is it?
Well, it's not terribly deep. I think the deepest point of the lake is probably about 40 feet deep, maybe 35. What's cool about it is that it's split in between two pretty defined river channels, Coleto Creek and Perdido Creek, or Perdido as you would pronounce it. But anyways,
I'm sorry, I'm white.
It's a really picturesque lake. It's surrounded by live oaks, which is basically our Texas state tree. And it's got a bunch of fish in it. And because of the two river channels that split it, there's a lot of really good offshore structure to fish out there.
That's cool.
Right on. So what kind of structure does it have? Like, what are some of the primary pieces of structure out there?
Well, there's a little bit of there's a little bit of everything, really. It's actually the Coleto Creek is actually a power plant lake. So basically, it uses the water to cool the plant. So the lake is usually a few degrees warmer than most of your other lakes. As far as structure is concerned, there's a lot of wood. There's a lot of standing timber in the lake. And you'll see it gets really thick in some areas. It's got reeds. I know it used to have grass. While we were there, I didn't find any, at least. Maybe somebody did, but I didn't find any grass. But primarily what you're looking for out there is you're going to see a lot of points, ridges, drains that are carved out by the old creeks in the lake from before it was dammed. So I know at least going in there when I was pre-fishing for a tournament there last year, I was really targeting bends in the channel, anywhere where the channel will go up and get close to the bank. I was targeting drains too that drained into the main river channels. I really like to look at those drains because those drains are usually passageways in which the fish use to go from shallow to deep water. For me in particular, those are the number one spots I go to, especially when there's a lake with a lot of pressure. A lot of your points are all going to get hammered during a tournament, but drains are something that are very, very overlooked. And I know last year when I was pre-fishing, I spent a lot of time in those drains looking for little wads of fish wherever I could find them.
Right on, man. It sounds fishy.
Oh, it's a real fishy lake, no doubt about it.
Yeah, you said it's a power plant lake. What was the water temp out there?
Well, the water temp was only really 4 or 5 degrees warmer than the water temp in most lakes around right now. Most lakes, at least here in North Texas, are starting to get into the high 60s, the 70s. But down there, we were looking at about 75 degrees. They weren't the water temp lakes. It's highly dependent on how hard they run the plant. If they run the plant really hard, the temperature could be as much as 25 degrees warmer. But if they're not running it real hard, there's not much to cool. And when they're not pumping water through the hot plant, it's not going to warm the lake up as fast.
I know, that was really weird. It had like some sort of audio issue. Uh-oh, now I'm getting feedback. I'm picking up my volume, picking up my voice from somebody's machine.
You're good now.
Oh, was it you, David?
I don't know. It stopped.
I don't know. It was really
You're good. Go on.
Yeah, I apologize. Be with Sergeant Pygmies in New Guinea. So 5 degrees warmer, you said.
Yeah, about 5 degrees, I would say. I mean, I don't know what the water temps, and because I don't live in South Texas, I don't know what the average water temps in South Texas are at the moment. But I know at least comparative to where I live right now, it's about 5 or 6 degrees warmer.
Right on. That sounds. I mean, so what stage? What stage were in the bastard that were all post spawn? Kind of.
Yeah, primarily. I think there were probably a few fish maybe still spawning, but at least from what I gathered, it was pretty post spawn.
We're still waiting, basically. Like the spawns just starting out here.
Dude, first week of April. First week of April.
Delta's probably not going to spawn until May.
Yeah, first week of April.
In those power plant lakes, those fish will spawn in January. Most of the time, January, February. Because if they run the plant really hard, it could be cold, but if they run it really hard, that water temp as early as January could get in the high 70s.
Yeah, I've seen videos of people fishing those power plant lakes in the middle of the winter. It's just crazy, like fishing 70-degree water.
Yeah,
you know,
you're out there. It's 30 degrees outside, and you're catching them on Zara Spooks.
Man, that must be cool.
Oh, it is. It's really cool.
Oh, wow. Granted, you don't want to fall in because you're going to freeze to death when you get out, but you might as well stay in the water then, huh?
Yeah, if you fall in, you probably want to stay in because that's the warmest place to be, at least until you can get some dry clothes on.
Yeah.
You don't want to be making a run on the lake after you fall in when it's 30 degrees outside.
Yeah.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all.
Oh, man.
Thankfully, it's not degrees out. It doesn't get 30 degrees in Texas very often.
Your arms will freeze off before you can paddle back.
Yep.
So, with that, man, what baits, what techniques, what lures were you catching them on, man? If you want to give the juice.
Sure, I can spill a little bit of the beans.
You don't have to give all of it, but I mean, just you give little nibbles. You got to tease somebody.
I'm the kind of guy that really doesn't mind, honestly. I'm always down to help people in any way that I can. So, as you can imagine, going in, I was a little bit nervous. I had heard that there were 2 other big boat tournaments. Coletto Creek is not a little lake, but it's not a big lake either. And there's only one place you can launch. And I heard there were 2 other big boat tournaments. And on top of our tournament, there were probably a total of about 300 boats on the lake that were fishing a tournament, right? So I was a little bit nervous. I didn't get because I was at the national championship just the last week, really. I didn't get the chance to pre-fish. And I, any angler would know that if they're going to go fish a tournament, they at least want the opportunity to spend a few hours on the lake. At least if they can't figure something out, at least eliminate some water. So going in, I was a little bit nervous, and I wasn't really sure what I was going to do. Nonetheless, I told myself, because I wasn't really prepared, I was going to fish as simple as possible. I mean, I probably had the most basic assortment of baits tied on you can imagine. A spinner bait, a crankbait, a jig, a brush hog, a worm. I mean, just very, very simple fishing, just because, you don't know what you're going to encounter, so you might as well, bring it to the basics, and that was my plan. I also knew that I had some spots that I had graphed last year. Last year, those spots didn't really work out for me. We were fishing it a lot earlier in the year, and those fish were kind of all over the place. There were some that were done spawning, but it wasn't like this time around where it seemed like all of them were done spawning. Anyway, so I figured some of these spots that I had found last year that last year I only could have picked one, maybe two fish out of. I figured, well, maybe this time around, if I pick them apart, I could pick more fish off them. I started off the day shallow. The water temp was about 75 degrees, and I actually started off the day throwing a Zara spook. I was trying to see if I could get a big bite during the shad spawn. I started off in an area, during the shad spawn, these fish like to have something that they could ambush shad up against. Like, for example, break walls, rock, in this particular case, reeds. And I looked for a part of the lake that had calmer water. The shad typically prefer to spawn in calmer water, and they wad up in bigger numbers there. So I started off in an area just like I described, and I was able to pick one keeper off it. It wasn't much, though. And I did it for a little while, and by then the shallow bite had died. What I decided to do later on was I thought to myself, well, I've got a bunch of waypoints in this lake from last year. I might as well run them and see what happens. I knew that a lot of them were going to have boats on them, without a doubt, with that many tournaments going on. But thankfully, I had a lot of oddball stuff that I found last year. Just places with drains with hard bottom. And for those of you who don't really know what a drain is, a drain is basically a backwards point. A point is an area where the water, where the depth of the water will come up and form a point, like an arrowhead. But a drain is an area where maybe a little channel will actually drain water. If you were to pour water down it, the water would drain along that channel and go into the creek channel, into the main channel, so to speak. Like I mentioned before, I really like those drains because there's always fish going in and out of these drains. A lot of fish will use points to feed, but they'll use these drains to travel. And these fish may not always be the most active fish on the lake, but I mean, if you can find an area with a hard bottom that'll attract the bait, they will also use them to ambush bait. But anyways, so I started to check a few spots out, and the first ones didn't really amount to anything. But I had one spot that was kind of an oddball spot, and I could see it the whole time I was fishing in the morning, and I thought to myself, man, that not a single person has touched that spot. And this was an area that I caught a couple fish in practice last year. It actually didn't amount to anything for me in the tournament, but in practice I had caught a couple fish on it, and I paddled right to my waypoint. As I went over, this particular drain had a ledge that kind of made a little bit of a U-shape on it. And that ledge had a lot of hard bottom on it. I don't know if it was an old, I don't know if that was dug out by the old creek that was there, but it had a hard bottom. It had what I believed to have been probably limestone. And I went over it, and I saw what I thought were fish on the graph. Sometimes you're not sure, of course. The thing about sonar technology these days is that a lot of people don't realize that it's not always totally accurate within a foot from the bottom. So while your fish are down there, instead of you being able to necessarily see individual fish really easily. They just look like little humps, or like rocks, so to speak. I was pretty sure that I was looking at fish, though, and there were a bunch of them. But anyways, I went over and I dropped my anchor, and I made one cast. And on that first cast, the rod about got ripped out of my hands. I thought, okay, there's definitely some fish here. At the time, I was fishing with a Carolina rig. Whenever I'm out searching for fish out deep, I like to use a Carolina rig because with a tungsten weight in particular, the wind was blowing about 25 miles an hour. I had a 3/4 ounce tungsten weight that I was fishing with. The reason I like the tungsten is because I can get a really good idea of what the bottom actually feels like. You can really feel if there's rock. You can even feel if there's grass. And I think you feel bites better too, because the vibration that tungsten sends is a lot more defined than like lead, for example. But anyways, I mean, I got the rod about ripped out of my hands on the first cast. From then on, it was absolutely nuts. I was anchored there for 5 hours, and I probably had a bite on almost every cast in that entire 5 hours. I don't know how many fish were down there, but I mean, it was something insane. Numbers-wise, I couldn't tell you how many fish I caught because I lost count. But it had to have been in the 40s. You know, most of these fish that I was throwing back were anywhere between 14 and 15 inches. And from then on, it was really what it was. It was a game of how am I going to get the bigger fish in this school to eat? And I threw a bunch of baits at them. I threw a spoon. I threw a Carolina rig. I threw a worm. I threw a 6XD crankbait. I saw that someone just asked how deep I was fishing. My boat was in 21 feet of water, and I was casting to 17.
Okay.
But anyways, I threw a jig, and I was getting bit on all of them, and it was just a matter of trying to figure out what the big fish were eating. And for me, the best bait to get the big bite was the Excite Baits raptor tail worm. It was pretty windy, so I was fishing it had to fish it on at least a 1/2 ounce weight. I've got it right here all rigged up so I can show y'all. The particular color that I was throwing was the plum color.
Juice.
And that was the bait that, you know, it's funny because it's such a simple bait, and because it's so simple and people have been using it for so long, people often overlook it. But when it comes to catching fish that are out deep, don't be afraid to stick a really big weight in front of that worm and drag it on the bottom. A lot of people are scared to fish a Texas rig with more than a 1/4 ounce weight, but there's no reason to be scared of it. I mean, get that bait exact in the water column where those fish are at, and you know, there are days when they really want that slower fall or whatever, but I find if you're on an active group of fish and excuse me, you got the right bait, it doesn't matter how much weight you're throwing with. I've fished with a 1 ounce weight, and you'll have those fish hold on to it for way longer than you would think before you had to set the hook. I've had them hold on, and just to see how long they'll hold on and swim with it. And sometimes they'll swim with it for like 2 or 3 minutes. I mean, it's insane. They have no idea what's going on. We give them a little more credit than they're doing. They're still little green fish, you know?
Yeah, that's for sure. That's crazy. 1 ounce.
Wow.
Well, in this particular case, I wasn't using a 1 ounce, but
yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I had done it before.
Right on. Man, we got quite a few comments going on here. Russians hacking the feed. What? I missed that. And this guy needs to have his comment deleted. It looks like whatever the heck this guy is. But yeah, if you don't understand what we're talking about, get out of here. So, man, dude, you gave a lot of info there. Definitely gave a lot of info. So, what do we got? Let's see if we can answer a couple of these questions. Swim with
He's
Gator.
been answering.
Say what now?
No.
Oh, he's been answering them? Yeah, he has. So we have his name.
Still.
The
juice.
Jeremiah Smith says snell knot. He says I see straight shank hook. He's asking if
I do use a snell knot when I'm flipping and pitching. I do not, however, use it on a worm, just because it has a tendency to kind of when I fish it if I put a snell knot on a worm, it has a tendency to kind of warp the worm a little bit. I do, however, use a straight shank hook to fish those 10-inch worms. I don't know if this is true or not, but at least, I think that I get a better hookup ratio on those straight shank hooks when I'm fishing a big worm than I do with like an EWG hook, for example. So that's just the way I've been doing it ever since. I started doing it like that on fork last year, and it seemed like I was catching every fish that I got bit from. So I've been doing it like that ever since.
Right on.
Cool. Ridge Miller wants to know if the bite was coming on the fall or dragging.
It's funny, those fish were so active. I mean, sometimes it didn't even hit the bottom before I got bit. But usually I got more of my bites as I was bringing it up the ledge on the edge of the drain. The wind was blowing. It was kind of a strange wind. In order for it to look as natural as possible, I had to fish it. And a lot of people, when they fish these spots, they show up and they, of course, they're gonna set up on it so they can cast downwind. And it makes perfect sense. You can make the longest cast, and usually because the wind's pulling your line out, you have the greatest amount of feel. But when you have a 25-mile-an-hour wind blowing down and you're bringing the bait up against it, I think that it looks completely unnatural to the fish. And while you're still going to get bites, they're just little green fish. They're still going to eat it. I don't think you're going to get quite as many bites, and you might have a harder time triggering those bigger bites. Those bigger fish are a little smarter, and they're going to want it to look as natural as possible. And if it means you got to fish in an uncomfortable wind situation, you just got to find a way to make it work.
Right on. That was quite the explanation, man. We appreciate that. So with that, was there any particular gear or equipment that you feel played a key role in your success?
Yeah, absolutely. So of course, so I actually build all my own rods. For the most part, I've got another. When I don't have time, I've got another guy that builds them for me. But for the most part, I build all my own rods, and the cool thing about being able to do that is you can build them exactly for what you want to do with them. You don't have to compromise on anything. I'm personally not a fan of micro guides per se, but I don't like the big guides either. So what I do is I build all my rods, with guides that are in between micros and big guides. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. But anyways, I've got this one particular rod right here. And this one right here has got a more high modulus blank to it. This is an MHX high modulus Mag Bass 873. For those of you that aren't familiar with the term Mag Bass, it typically means all around bass blank, right? And this one being high modulus, what they do is they're able to make the blank walls a little bit thinner. And what that does is that makes it lighter and it makes it more sensitive. Now, don't be fooled. Just because it's thinner doesn't mean it's not as strong. I mean, being a kayak fisherman, I put these rods through a lot of abuse. However, you really gain a lot of course, you still have to take care of them, but you really gain a lot of sensitivity with those blanks. Whenever you're in a situation where you have as much wind as we had that day, I think that some of the guys that were there can attest that it was a very windy day. And fishing it with the crosswind like I was, my line was basically bowed out every time I was bringing that worm back to the boat. And even with the line bowed out, I was able to feel every single bite immediately with that rod blank. So I really do attest being able to put together your own rods, to some of my success. I've got a couple rods that I build. I've got they've got one, MHX has one blank line called the CB blank line. And it stands for crankbait, but I don't personally consider them to be just crankbait blanks. They're a blend of regular graphite and fiberglass. And so you get a little bit more of, I guess, what you would call a progressive action. It bends a little bit further down the blank, but they're still pretty fast for a crankbait blank. And I really I have a couple that I use to fish spooks, that I use to fish spinnerbaits, and I really legitimately believe that there isn't a better blank out there to fish these baits with, because you get all the benefits of a graphite rod with a little bit of forgiveness and tip, basically. Going all fiberglass can be really tough for a lot of things. You're definitely able to keep fish on, but your hook sets aren't as good. And going all graphite, sometimes that really stiff tip, it makes it really hard to keep fish on. But I really like those blends. I would encourage anyone who's interested to get on their website and actually look them up. It's called the CB Blend Series. Absolutely unbelievable rod blank. But apart from that, on that particular day, like I said, you can ask anyone out there. It was windy, and I was able to stand in my Diablo the entire time. You can ask anyone. I have a hard time sitting and fishing, and that's why I fish in that boat. Also, let me tell you, the paddle back wasn't fun, but I was pretty happy to have a Werner Callisti in my hands. That thing is bad to the bone. Right there, it's extremely light. It's extremely stiff, which really helps you gain the most efficiency out of each paddling stroke. A lot of people don't realize, you see it every day. They buy these Ferrari kayaks, and they outfit them with a cheap paddle. And a lot of people don't really realize that when you do that, it's like putting a little Honda engine in a Ferrari, because your engine is that paddle. And if you're using something with a very bendy blade, you're losing a lot of efficiency. Whenever in each paddling stroke, it could be pushing your boat so much harder if you just upgrade it to a stiffer blade. And on top of that, it's lighter. And I would encourage everyone to think about how many times they pick up their paddle when they paddle 1 mile. And it's a lot of times. Having a good paddle definitely helps you save energy throughout a tough paddle, throughout the full length of a truly tough paddle. And as a tournament angler, I have to make those tough paddles a lot against my own will. So I need to have a piece of equipment that allows me to do that.
Yeah.
Yep, that is your motor. And
That is.
it is your motor. Any other viewer questions, man? If you guys have a question, post them up. This is the time to do so. We're about ready to wrap things up here, so if you want to ask Guillermo something, chime in. Caden Drake says, at what At what point do you decide to go deep after fishing shallow?
At what point? Well, usually for me, it kind of really depends on what's going on. It's, there's no doubt about the fact that, in the mornings, there, in a lot of lakes, not all lakes, you have a really good chance at catching some active fish up shallow. I have to say it really depends on the lake. I fished in some lakes where, for whatever reason, the deep bite doesn't pick up till late in the day. Like, for example, Lake Fork. If you go out to Lake Fork and you go out and graph some of these humps and points, you'll notice that it's not really until the middle of the day, the hottest part of the day, that these fish really group up together and get tight. And it's in those moments when you really have the best chance at catching them. However, when I'm in a tournament, it's always a dilemma. If I had to tell you, if the shallow thing isn't working for me, I really enjoy fishing deep personally. And if the shallow thing isn't working for me, I usually figure it out. I at least try to figure it out as quick as possible. I try to cover the most productive water that I can quickly. If that doesn't work for me, I will usually go deep. I like to have in every tournament some deep backup spots because they can really save your butt. Even if all you're catching are little fish in them, they can really save your butt when the shallow bite isn't on. And one of the kind of neat things about being a kayak angler that takes the time to learn to fish deep is in a lot of these kayak tournaments, a lot of anglers, it's hard to fish deep. It really is in a kayak. But so a lot of anglers won't even try. And you'll notice that in these tournaments, like in KATS tournaments, for example, you can really, in a tournament where there's 150 people, you can have so much water all to yourself if you just choose to get out of your comfort zone and move off a little bit. That's really a hard question to answer when I choose to go deep, and it just really depends on how much confidence I have in the deep bite. If I know the deep bite is there and I know I can get on it at any time of the day, sometimes I'll wait longer to get out there. Because you never know what the deep bite is going to be like. So, there are days where, people think just because you're deep, when you're deep, there's bigger fish, but that's not necessarily so. There's a lot of big fish up shallow, and I try to pick off a couple good limit filler fish up shallow before I go deep, just because I don't know what I'm going to encounter out there. And when I'm out there, I'm usually committed, because you have to be committed, because these fish will fire up at weird parts of the day, and sometimes you have to wait them out. Hope that's a good answer.
It's a great answer, man.
Yeah. It may have been winded, but it's all good. We still like it. That's I'd rather hear
and I apologize in advance for that.
That's all good, man. But
everyone,
yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah, I'd rather you be a little winded, because then that means you're not leaving anything out. That means less questions have to be asked, because then again, it actually could spawn more questions, but still. So what do we have? It's kind of hard. Like the guys, I asked for questions and they started chiming in, and I can only go back so far. So I missed one, and you want someone to ask it, re-ask it again if I miss it. Ridge Miller says he would love to take some production B-roll of you making your rods. That's what he says.
Is that right?
That's what he says. Ridge Miller. J.I. Cruz, advice for the new guys.
So I'll give a little background on kind of my story in tournament fishing. When I first started tournament fishing, I was fishing the college tournaments. And let me tell you, there are some really good fishermen in those college tournaments, and I got my butt whooped. it made me feel like a horrible angler. But what I did with that is I used that to motivate me. I told myself from here on out, I'm going to learn to do everything. I'm going to learn to do everything you see, I'm going to try to learn to do it. Every bait on the shelf, I'm going to try to figure out when and how to throw it. And I'm going to do this on the lakes that aren't the cupcake lakes. I'm going to go to some of these bigger bodies of water where you really have to take the time and think a little bit to figure out the fish. My biggest advice for someone really looking to improve on their tournament fishing is to put themselves on challenging water a lot. Now, that's a hard thing to do. People at the end of the day, they like to catch fish. But what I find is whenever I end up on these easier lakes, I just do what's always worked for me. And I would end up throwing the same baits every time. But when you challenge yourself to go to these more challenging lakes, you actually have to challenge yourself to actually be a little bit more variety, have more variety in what you're doing. And that right there has been the number one thing that I think has helped me become a better fisherman is just sucking it up and putting my boat in some difficult lakes. And, you'll find the more you do it, you're going to start catching fish, and it's going to get more and more enjoyable. It's going to get to the point where you're not really going to care for going to these easy lakes because it's not something that gives you fulfillment. You're going to want to have really good days on these tougher lakes because those are the days that you're going to really remember at the end of the day, and those are the trips that are going to make you the best possible angler you can be. So that way, when you have a tournament at an easy lake, you've got so much up your sleeve that you are 10 steps ahead of the competition. My personal opinion.
I like that advice, man. It's true. Well, the logic is sound. What else we have here? Jeff Davies says, "Can you show that rig again?" Or he said that right again, and he corrected himself. That rig again. Here you go, Jeff.
This guy?
Yeah, imagine that's the one he's talking about.
That's the winner right there.
Very closer, you'll see that I have it rigged. I have a peg. I usually like to put the peg when I'm fishing a Texas rig worm, at least. I usually like to put the peg like 3 or 4 inches ahead of the weight. There I've got a 1/2 ounce tungsten weight. And then I have this 10-inch worm and plum rigged on a straight shank hook. And I believe this is a 4-aught straight shank hook. And I will usually, most of the time, I won't even let the tip stick out of the worm. I mean, I just have it buried in there. If you do a good hook set, I find that fish is hooked almost every time.
A buddy over at Hype Bait asked, he says, is it hard fishing deep in a kayak with the parentheses staying on your weighing point? That's what he's meaning.
It can be really hard. I use an anchor, and I have a pretty heavy anchor. I have one. I have an 8-pound mushroom anchor, and it's a much bigger anchor than most people are using out there. And once I have that thing down, it doesn't matter how hard the wind is blowing. I can stay on it. The one thing that I try to avoid is I try not to anchor anywhere near my waypoint. I don't know if it actually bugs the fish, but I'm trying to make long casts towards the waypoint if I can, because I don't want them to have a clue that I'm out there. Sometimes if I know those fish are there, I find myself I have to pick up the anchor a couple times, and I have to move around the spot and figure out which direction they want that bait coming from. Because believe it or not, sometimes that makes all the difference in the world. Yeah. But I wouldn't consider it hard. I think one kind of advantage that kayakers have is they're always going slow. And I know that seems like a disadvantage, but whenever you're paddling to a spot, it's the cool thing that you can do. You can always be graphing what's down below you, and you'd be surprised. Sometimes you will find a little brush pile in the middle of a flat that a bass boat would just completely blitz over, and it could be the biggest honey hole in the lake. So anytime you're going somewhere and you see any attractive contour, I feel like kayak fishermen have the advantage in the sense that they're not just blowing over it. They always can see what's going on. And so, there's its advantages and disadvantages. I mean, I'm sure if you put me on Kentucky Lake, when there's 5-footers going across the lake, it's dang near impossible to fish deep in a kayak. But it's, at least for me, it's usually not too bad so long as I can get to the spot safely. Safety can be a concern at times, and sometimes it's just dumb to go fish deep. And on those days, I really don't recommend it. But if you can do it, I think it's not that bad personally. It's just a matter of getting used to it.
We got a lot of deep reservoirs out here. They're just finally starting to move shallow, so we've all been fishing deep out here.
Oh, I'll bet.
My dog's snoring loud back there. Wake up,
Dad. Jacob Moeller. Hey, G, what brand of electronics are you using?
I've got Garmin. I've got a little Lowrance unit that I use that's really small, that I use if I know I'm just fishing shallow. Because I like to keep my kayak as light as possible. And if I'm just fishing shallow, all I need is sonar and mapping. So I do have a little Lowrance unit, but when I'm out there fishing deep, I have my Garmin unit up, and it's your basic 7-inch screen side imaging Garmin unit. I'm really happy with their maps. They've actually kind of blown me away at some lakes. Like when I compare my Garmin mapping on Lake Fork, for example, to Navionics, I mean, there's no comparison. There's no comparison at all. The contours on that thing it seems like almost perfect.
Solid.
Another person asked a similar question. They asked what sonar you use, but they also asked what one would you recommend for under $700.
Well, I'm not sure what the Garmin 73 SV is actually going for right now, but I think it's right around there, right around $700. I will say, a lot of people think that you have to have side imaging to find deep fish. I'll admit that side imaging is helpful, but I learned to fish deep with just sonar and down imaging, and I have won tournaments fishing deep with just sonar and down imaging. I mean, don't think you have to spend a fortune to learn to fish deep. I mean, people have been fishing deep for a long time, way before side imaging, and done very well. But I do think that the SV, the 73 SV from Garmin, I think it's right around that price. I'm not positive, but I think so. And I know Lowrance is coming out with some less expensive units, and Humminbird with the Helixes and that. I'm not sure what they're priced at, but I don't think they're quite over $700. But I'm not positive on that.
Sweet.
Okay, John Michael Gomez, what would you consider your greatest weakness or something that you feel needs more improvement on your part? Solid question, John. Solid question.
I definitely have weaknesses, and I do everything I can to improve. But I would say if I had one weakness, it's junk fishing.
Throwing everything you got.
Is that?
It's just like, for example, I feel like there are times when, like in the summertime specifically, whenever there is no deep bite or there's nothing really going on, I'm the kind of guy that really likes to be keyed in on one thing, or one, maybe two, maybe three things. But if there's 500 things going on, I have a little bit of trouble deciding what on earth I need to be doing. And if I had to tell you what my grade is, it's definitely junk fishing. Just fishing everything all at once. It's hard for me to do, for sure.
Granted, this one you fished a lot of different things, but you wouldn't consider that junk fishing.
Say that again.
You said on this win. You said you did throw a crankbait and some other things too, right? That did catch some fish.
I wouldn't consider it quite junk fishing, just because I was keyed in on particular spot and they were eating anything. Usually, I attribute junk fishing to when the bite's kind of tough. You kind of have to do a little bit of everything to just get a bite here, a bite there, wherever you can. It's a grind, basically. And I usually attribute junk fishing to fishing anywhere from mid to shallow water. But that's just me. At least that's what my weakness is. In that, whenever I have to I like to fish shallow, and I feel like I'm good at fishing shallow, but I feel like I'm good at it when I really have something figured out. And when I don't, I have a lot of trouble just really diversifying myself and throwing a billion different things until I catch 5. Some guys are really good at that. That's all they do, and they attribute their entire success to that. I'm just like Brian Thrift in FLW. I can't believe how many rods he has on his deck, and he's all over the place. He's probably the best junk fisherman on the planet. I could probably learn a thing or two from him.
I like your explanation of junk fishing. I think that's true. Anything what you were doing is probably more attributed with just kind of they were getting acclimated to what you're using, so you're kind of just trying to change it up, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's see. I think I skipped one. Did I skip it? No, I didn't skip it. I got that one. John Michael Gomez, do you have a YouTube channel?
Man, I don't, but it sounds like I might have to get one. I thought about making a YouTube channel for a while. If you get on my Facebook, occasionally, after I do well in a tournament, I'll post a video. But one of the things I was finding is whenever I posted a video and I went back to fish a tournament on that lake, there was a guy on my spot.
Yeah.
There was a guy on my spot doing exactly what I was doing in that video. So I've kind of tried to shy away from that a little bit. But I have been interested in starting a channel and hopefully, an informative channel where people can actually learn. I do feel like I have a lot to offer. And if there's anything you guys would like to see from me in a YouTube channel, please send me a message, and I'd love to know all about it. Or if you ever have any questions at all, you can always message me. I don't always get back to people right away, but I try to always get back to people. I try to not leave any message unanswered. So if anyone ever has any questions, they're more than welcome. And you're also more than welcome to post up a few more questions right here. I'm still willing to answer a few more. I'm sure y'all are getting kind of tired, but I'm still going. If y'all got any more questions,
we rest when we're dead. We rest.
I got one question. How many rods do you take with you when you go fishing?
Depends. But on average in a tournament, I rarely have less than 10 rods. The most that I usually bring is 12. I don't like to bring more than 12, but I never bring less than 10. I can fit a lot of rods in that Diablo. A lot. I've got all kinds of places that I can put them. It almost feels like I got rod lockers on that thing.
That's cool, man.
Let's see. Will this be available for playback? Yeah, Rusty White. Yes, it will be available for playback on on the Facebook page and or YouTube later.
And here. It's easier to just watch here. I mean, I don't know. I've listened to them there was one where I was working and I was listening to them on the way home from work. I just put on my Bluetooth and boom, just press play.
I am trying to figure out a way to create just the audio, or just pull the audio and then make it a podcast, so people can listen to it later. I just don't really know because we have such long interludes. So I have to go back and cut those interludes out. But it's doable.
Yeah.
It's an option. Oh, look at that little plug for Excite right there on your Nalgene. Nalgene? Is that a Nalgene?
Oh yeah, you better believe it's an Nalgene. Backwoods, Fort Worth.
Yeah. I got my Hydro Flask here. You can't see it, but
Hydro Flasks are awesome. Yeah. I've got one of those that I actually bring on tournaments because they keep water cold forever.
All day.
Yep,
all day.
I still have water in this from when I filled it up this morning at 6 o'clock a.m. 6 a.m.
And it's probably still cold, huh?
It's still cold. I just refill it with water. I see 8:52, 9 o'clock so over 16 hours or 15 hours, something like that.
Wow.
Anyway, so moving on. Steve,
what's your next tournament you're fishing?
I think the next tournament. So if I fish it, the next tournament will be the Beavers Bend Classic next week. Then after that, I believe it's the North Texas Kayak Championships on Possum Kingdom Lake. And then after that, I think it's KATS on Decker. I think those are the next three that I'm fishing. I'd have to check my calendar to be sure, but that's the plan.
Right on, man. So you got quite the busy schedule. You gonna try to break your record for a number of events in a year?
The KFL series isn't happening this year, so I don't think I'm going to be able to break it, but I will probably fish around 20 events this year.
Right.
That's awesome, dude. That's so cool. That's a lot of events.
Yep. But that's how you stay competitive. Competing makes you competitive. So, what else we got here? Any more questions? Steve Cyril, I don't know. Cyril, I don't know how you say his name. It says, Guillermo, do you think Chris Boydston should always wear a hat?
Do I think he should always wear a hat? No, I think he should gel his hair back every time. For every tournament, I think he should just gel his hair back. Show it off, man.
Show that mane. Let it fly. Sorry, I don't know who you're speaking of, but slick it back, homie. Slick it back.
He's a good local guy. Good local dude.
In the picture, looks like he doesn't have any hair. I see. I see a little like his little profile picture down there.
Oh, I guess I always see him with a hat on, so I guess I wouldn't know. I just think it would be funny to see a guy with his hair slicked back in a tournament.
He should, if he had really long hair, slick it, get some pomade and slick it way back, like he's going 70 miles an hour on a bass boat.
Exactly.
That'd be pretty funny. Let's see. John Michael Gomez says, I saw the GoPro on your kayak and was curious. So I imagine if you're not posting the videos, you're using that just for your own research kind of stuff. Imagine, yeah.
Yeah, I like to film everything. Whenever I lose a fish, I can kind of watch it and think about any mistake I could have made. And then sometimes it's very easy to see, oh, I did this, or there was too much slack in the line at this period in time, or I let that fish jump too easily. But and then sometimes there's nothing you could have done. But I do like to have it running. I like to see what I'm doing with my rod tip whenever I get a bite. Just kind of little tidbits that might help me get that one extra bite next time I get out on the water.
Yep, it's one of the great tools about filming. GoPro is that it does allow you to go back and analyze and figure out what you did wrong or what you could have done different, or maybe what you did right that you didn't notice you did right. It's all useful information. Let's see. We got Chuck Conan. He says, when you Carolina rig, do you use a stop to keep the weight from sliding up the line when you cast?
I actually don't. I don't use it. So my basic Carolina rig setup is always pretty close to the same. I'm either using a 1 ounce or the 3/4 ounce weight. I will put a bead below the weight and then a swivel. One thing that I do with Carolina rigs that I feel like a lot of people don't do is I always fish it with a monofilament leader. I do not use a fluorocarbon leader.
Why is that?
And the reason that I do that is, in my personal opinion, the whole point of a Carolina rig is you've got that weight on the bottom, but you want monofilament floats. And you want that bait to float up as high as you can above that Carolina rig. Kind of like, it's almost like fishing a bait weightless, but really deep. And it gives it that really free action. And one of the other things that I'll do is I try to fish baits that don't have any salt when I'm fishing a Carolina rig. Because baits without salt won't sink. All X-Hype baits don't have salt in them, and they all float, which is awesome. Because if you're fishing a jig, and you're using one of their craws, the craws will always sit up in a defensive position because they float. Or if you're fishing a Carolina rig, that Carolina rig that bait will float high above that weight, which, in my personal opinion, I get more bites that way. I typically use about a 3.5 to a 3 to 4 foot leader, which is extremely long. The only time I fish with a much shorter leader is in the wintertime.
Okay.
In the wintertime, it doesn't matter as much to me. In the summertime, I fish a very, very long leader. Those fish kind of sometimes get higher above the water column, and I like to be able to, I like to attract fish from bait from a lot of places in the water column. A lot of people don't think you can do that with a Carolina rig, but you most certainly can, especially if your bait's floating high. I like not to use too stiff of a hook because those bigger, beefier hooks will weigh your bait down. And I also try not to use too stiff of a rod. I do use a long rod. My Carolina rig rod is a 7.5 moderate fast action medium heavy rod, for those that are wondering.
All right.
Good Carolina rig info right there.
All right.
I never really fished that. I'm at the Delta a lot, man. I'm always fishing a couple feet of water all year long.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Let's see. What was I going to ask? Oh, we're kind of going a little long, so I'll try to burn through these questions. Try to answer this as quickly as you can. I think we have pretty much just one last one. John Michael Gomez, what is your go-to bait? The bait you have the most confidence in?
What is the bait that I have the most confidence in? Man, that is a terrible question because I have no idea what the answer to it is. Okay. Shoot.
Okay. Usually the way I word this, or the way I would word it is, if your go-to bait, what is the bait that you would go to break the glass in case of emergency kind of bait?
In case of an emergency? Yeah. Okay. I guess that makes it a little easier for me. In case of an emergency, a spinner bait.
That's it.
I do really like spinner baits. They work all year long. I call them slot machine baits because they have a tendency to catch those good tournament fish, those slot fish in the 16 to 19 inch range, pretty consistently. Probably if I'm flipping and I can't get bid on anything else, probably a Excite Baits Hogalicious, which is their version of the brush hog.
Okay. I love the brush hog, man.
Yeah, man. Tried and true. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yep.
That's right.
Absolutely.
All right. So with that, we want to thank everybody as far as questions go. Let's. We got a few more for Guillermo here that we want to get answered. So are you planning on fishing the KBF National Championship next year in 2018?
Oh, you better believe I am.
$100,000, man. $100,000. $100,000.
I'm excited. I mean, $100,000. Come on.
Yeah.
You better definitely. I'm going to be there.
Yeah. I mean, you finished the top 10 this time, and you finished well last year too, right?
Yeah, I finished 11th last year and 6th this year.
See,
wow,
so if the trending is you should be right there in the top 3 next year, then, right?
If the trend continues, hopefully.
Let's hope. Fingers are crossed. We know people come on here, they get good juju. Ask Rick Rowland. He won the Open. He won the Open after coming on here. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did. He came on here like two or 3 weeks
some
before.
Good juju.
Yeah, it takes some. Yeah, you can use it, man. So we're gonna talk a couple of events you were gonna do next year. Any sponsors you want to thank or plug?
Oh yeah, I mean, all my sponsors are so helpful in being able to allow me to basically live the way I do and fish as many tournaments as I do. I've talked a lot about Excite Baits, Werner Paddles, and Diablo, but I love the fact that I have Sea Deck on my boat. It makes my boat real quiet. I can kind of. Well, I'm a very clumsy person, and it allows me to be clumsy without bugging the fish as much, And it's also comfortable to stand on. Dial reels. I've just about every rod that I build, I usually throw a Daiwa CT on it. They've got 3 different options that you can fish with in regards to gear ratios. So, I mean, you're covered regardless of what you're doing. I want to thank
the best V reel.
Say that again.
Speaking of Daiwa, have you seen that new SV Tatula?
Oh, that thing is beautiful. I gotta get me one.
I held one at the shop the other day. I'm like, oh god, I gotta get one now.
I really, one of the guys I really need to thank is a gentleman named Chad Dowell who owns Shiner Energy and Consulting. They really helped me get to a lot of these tournaments and really make it possible for me to fish. Without them, I probably wouldn't have made it to the national championship this year. I also want to thank Backwoods because, not only do they employ me, but they sponsor me. And they have such an awesome selection of good apparel for the kayak fishermen. And they also have a lot of cool stuff, for rigging kayaks and things like that. Tim Martin, the general manager, tries to be as active as he can in the community and in the kayak fishing community specifically. But I really am lucky. I have some pretty awesome sponsors. MHX Rods. They make all those blanks that I love so much. I honestly have a hard time fishing with anything else. I've got some other brand name rods that I fish with when I have to, but I really prefer when I can and when I have the right action for it to fish with those MHX blanks. I would encourage anyone to, if you got the time, build your own rods. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to go out there and catch them on those rods that you built.
Yeah, it's a sense of pride kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a sense of pride, but on top of that, everybody has their own opinion on what the perfect rod for something is, and building it allows you to, actually be able to put together exactly what you want for that particular purpose. And I don't think you can really compare that to going to, a local shop and just kind of wiggling rods until you think you find what's best. Because then you end up going out and you fish with it, and you're like, that's not as good as I thought. When you get to build it, you get to build it exactly how you want it. You can take everything you like about every rod you've ever fished with and put it together in one rod.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I've been wanting to do it myself. It's just a matter of, stars aligning. Plus, I picked up a sponsor, so using them while I can, and just start doing some custom stuff. I mean, we got a guy out here, Bam. He owns Guru Rods, and he's been building a lot of custom rods for a lot of guys out here. He's a pretty good dude.
Yeah, speaking of Guru Rods, he's actually doing a customer appreciation week this week, 10% off. So I'm actually thinking about ordering something from it. I don't know what I'm thinking.
These custom rod builders they're good at what they do, and they love what they do. And if you can't do it yourself, it's always good to support these guys, because they not only do they know what they're doing, but they work hard at it, and they took the time to learn the trade, and there's nothing like having your own personal rod built for you, man. I mean, it's a cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely. So, one last question before we get to our drawing for last week's giveaway. Reminder for those of you who have stuck around, share the stream for a chance to win some Trapper hooks. For next week, we'll do the drawing the following week after everybody has shared it. It gives opportunities for those who didn't watch it actually live can watch it tomorrow and then share it as well. So share it away, and then be entered and win next week. So the one last question before we do the drawing for last week's winner. Where can people follow you, man? How do they keep up with Guillermo and what's going on in his world?
Well, of course, you can follow me on Facebook. Feel free to send me a friend request. So long as you don't look like you can kill me, I'll definitely add you. And like I said, everyone is always welcome to send me messages asking questions. Another way to keep up with me is on Instagram. My name is Guillermo _Gonzalez_outdoors, and I can go ahead and put that in the comment section right now if you guys are interested in following me. I'm just recently getting into photography again, and I'm trying to post as high quality of a content as I can with regards to all things outdoors. I also really enjoy, aside from fishing, I really enjoy hunting and basically anything incorporated with the outdoors. So I try to incorporate that a lot in my Instagram account. So I'm posting it here right now if you guys are interested in following me.
Sweet.
Right on,
Go
man.
get
Let me see. Are you ready to do the giveaway for last week, David?
I'm ready, man. We got a lot more names than last week. Last week there was only like 6 names because a bunch of private people shared on private or something, because only a few names showed up for us. But all right, here we go. You want me to share the screen, or are we just doing it, or what?
I accidentally deleted the shot. How did I do that?
You want me to share the screen, or just go for it?
You can just go for it, because I just accidentally deleted what I meant to delete. Didn't mean to delete.
Let's just go. Let's see who wins. Spinning the wheel.
You can still share the screen, I guess.
Oh, already done. Oh. James Snyder won.
James Snyder. Congratulations, man. I believe he's been aching to win. So, congratulations, James. We'll go ahead and I'll get your info. Send me your info on Facebook here, and I'll forward that to Trapper Tackle, and they will send you some hooks. Granted, we're kind of trying to debating on how we're going to handle it, but I believe that's how it's going to happen. So go ahead and send me your info, and we'll try to take care of you as soon as we can.
Enjoy the hooks, dude.
Yeah, enjoy the hooks. Anything else we want to talk about or wrap before we send it off? No?
I just want to thank everyone who's watching. I really appreciate all the support, and I look forward to seeing all of y'all soon and chatting with all of y'all. And I also want to make a special shout out to my buddy Paul Roundtree, who's watching from New Zealand. How cool is that?
That's pretty cool, dude.
Awesome, dude.
Right on.
Got to be our furthest viewer.
So far, yeah. I'll look on all the stats on Facebook and see the New Zealand on there. Is he out there visiting, or does he live?
Thanks for watching.
Does he live out there, or is he just visiting?
He actually lives out there. I met him while fishing the Hobie Worlds this year in Louisiana.
All right. Oh, you fish Hobie Worlds too? Oh my goodness! Look at you.
Excellent fisherman.
Right on, man. All right, so. With that, man, we want to say thank you. Well, after we end the stream, we'll chat maybe for a couple minutes here, Guillermo. But so everybody else, I want to say thank you for tuning in. Anything you want to say? Some last parting words, David?
No, man. Thanks everyone for watching, man. Stay tuned next week. We'll have another show.
Greg Blanchard and Richard Penny are coming on next week to talk about the. Well, Greg will be talking about Greg, the Mr. Kayak Bass Nomad, and then we'll talk to Richard about the KBF Trail, and we'll kind of do a little bit of a preview for our Comanche tournament that coming up Saturday. So a week from Saturday. Everybody else, hey, again, thank you for tuning in to watching Kayak Bass Live, and share the love. All right, love, peace, and chicken grease.
Yeah.